Well, hello, and welcome back to that thing we like to call Curless Mania, where we talk all things pop, rock, and prog. Doing something a little different today. And I am very, very happy to welcome back to the channel Mr. Greg Addington. Greg, how are you today?
I am great this morning. Thank you for having me once again to Curlis Mania. I'm very excited to talk about our little topic this morning.
Yes, yes, yes. We are,
Be fun. It could be a lot of fun.
Greg. Absolutely.
Controversial.
Greg and I are good friends, and we talk music all the time. He's a musician, I'm a musician. And music is just a constant in our lives, and we talk music all the time. And one band that constantly comes up in our conversations without fail, we can't help it, is the Beatles. Beatles related, Beatles solo, Beatles bootlegs, Beatles outtakes, Beatles. I mean, Beatles recording sessions. It's just constant. You can't help it, right?
Yeah. And yeah, actually this morning the topic is I think we're going to cover pop, rock, and prog all on the same record, Tom, in some ways.
We're going to cover all of those music.
John's idea of prog anyway.
Right, right, exactly. So when I started this channel, I talked about, and I didn't channel update at one point, I talked about how really this channel is just recording conversations that I'm already having, essentially. And I think that really applies to Greg and I, because Greg, we would just sit, like, we have dinners or whatever, hang out. Next thing you know, we're talking about music, and we talk about whatever for, whatever music topic it is for 45 minutes. And I'm like, if we just tape this, we could have a YouTube channel. So that's sort of inspired by some of our conversations we would have on ongoing. I mean, not, I mean, with a lot of friends, any of my music friends, we always talk music. So it's just fun to do. It's always fun to talk about. So, and it's something we're all obsessed about, right? So,
Absolutely.
you know,
And inevitably, certainly in our friend group, and I think in a lot of people that's kind of our age or maybe a little bit older, the discussion always seems to come at some point to the Beatles, right? So it's it's
it's
kind
like
of a natural we're having this conversation. And
it's
I
like
know so many people who pick this record as their favorite Beatles record. Do you know a lot of people like that?
yes, I would be one of them.
Okay. Oh
Yes.
boy. Now I feel like
Yeah.
I'm in the hot seat, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's always my favorite, but it definitely comes up in the conversation as one of my favorites for sure. Um,
Okay.
so this is an interesting conversation. So what we're going to do today, we'll get to the point here. What are we doing today?
Yeah,
We
what
are
are we doing?
we are doing what we call, like, what I'm stealing a theme from from my friend Bicycle Legs, who does these, on his channel Bicycle Legs Talks Music. He has this friendly argument series where he gets with a friend and they talk about an album that they kind of disagree about, and they have this friendly argument. And he's done a couple, and I think one of them was the White Album. So he did one on the White Album. I think he did one on Synchronicity. He did one on, what was the other one? Um Satanic Majesties by the Rolling Stones. That was my favorite, because
Yeah.
he said that there were some real gems on there. The other guy was like, "What are you talking about? This album's not very good." Um, so I loved that series. So I kind of asked him. I said, "Bicycle Legs, is it okay if I steal your theme for a day, because this is going to be perfect for friendly arguments?" And he said, "Yeah, no problem. Go for it." So thanks, Bicycle Legs, and that's what we're doing today. We're doing a friendly argument, and Greg brought this up as a topic that maybe Abbey Road is not what people think it is. Is that? I'll let you say it. What was your thought?
Yeah, well, we're going to get into this. This will be the discussion, but yeah, I think that as a I was going to say as a cohesive work, but maybe it's the opposite of that. Maybe as the individual elements of this record don't add up to what perhaps the overall um, impression of this as a masterpiece, might be to music fans. And actually, it's like I recently, I'll kind of convey a story here in a second, but like recently, I saw a another YouTube video where a guy on his channel who talks a lot about the Beatles, he was interviewing some teenage kids about the Beatles. He wanted to know how much they knew about them, um, kind of what their impressions were, what stuff they liked. And one of the things that jumped out at me is that when he asked, "Can you name an album?" all of them without fail, I don't think there were any exceptions. They either named Abbey Road specifically as the record that they knew, or they said the one where they're walking across the zebra crossing because
Interesting.
because that image is so iconic, right? So it's like eh, it got me thinking. It's like if Abbey Road were the last kind of the last testament of the Beatles, if like everything else was erased and Abbey Road was the thing that was left of what future generations remembered the Beatles by, would we be comfortable with that?
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I like that. I like that. And your topic got me thinking, like, I was trying to think objectively about, okay, let's just look at this record and think about some of the things that were going on. I mean, and also, I mean, I try to always divorce myself because I know a lot about what was happening. I
Right.
always try to divorce myself from the events because a lot of people do that where they're like, oh, they weren't happy, so I don't really. I know this album's not very good because they were fighting. Well, that's not necessarily true. It could be a good album even if they were fighting. Um, but however, it's almost impossible not to have some of your historical background come in, especially with Abbey Road, because you know the situation, what was going on with the band at the time. So it's hard not to think about it.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know if like where your watchers or where they fall. I assume I'm picturing them as being very knowledgeable of what came right before this record and what happened. But I
Yeah.
don't know if you want to give some background about what led up to this, or if everyone is already familiar with that story.
Yeah, I think everyone's pretty familiar with it. I This is the reason sometimes I don't do a lot of Beatles content because I know there's a couple I mean, you've probably watched them. Like there's a couple channels that have like Beatles content like nonstop. I wanted to mention them like Pop Goes to 60s is a really good one. I think we talked about that. Matt is his name. He does a great job. Mean Mr. Mayo is another one. He's I think his name is Joe, and he does a lot of Beatles content. John Heaton is another guy. They just do constant nonstop Beatles content, and it's like, wow, like how do you compete with that? But however, but just to give, I mean, you're right. Just to give a quick background, I mean, it's like, okay, Let It Be was the album that was sort of recorded before this, and really things were starting. I mean, but yeah, big picture, things were starting to fall apart with the band a little bit. I mean, and they would say there were many factors to that, right? Brian Epstein dying, because I mean the White Album sessions were pretty fractured as well. They didn't really have a manager anymore. They kind of felt a little bit. John Lennon got divorced, then he met Yoko Ono. There was a lot of like personal life stuff going on with all of them. Um, and Paul was desperately trying to keep the Beatles together. I mean, you got to give. They always say that the last what is it? The last three records you can thank Paul because he was the one who was like, "Come on, lads, we got to make another record." Like he was trying to get everybody back in the studio all the time. Like, come on, I've got my what John said. He would call it when he had his seven songs and be like, "All right, come on, let's go back in the studio."
Yeah, for better or for worse, right? As we'll
Yeah,
discuss today. Now, like, and to be even more pointed about this, I think that if we want to keep this very compressed timeline in mind, in very late 68, they had just finished the White Album, a
right.
two record set worth of songs they had just finished and it was released in what, October, November or something like that
Yes. Yep.
of 68. Then in January, they go into a cold, movie studio and start rehearsing what was to be Get Back or Let It Be, depending on how you look at it. And then in April, they start recording Abbey Road. This is what's going on. I mean, if you think about this in terms, if any of you are musicians out there and you write songs, think about, the level of songwriting and just, I mean, and John's on heroin. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
yeah, and
Right.
none of them are probably doing, that great. I mean, they had to be at least tired of being in the studio working.
Yeah, I mean, watching Get Back, you know, the all 8 hours of it, and which we all devoured, of course. It's impossible not to. I mean, you look at it and it's like they're just sitting there. There's a couple moments where they're just sitting there with their guitars, kind of staring at each other, like, "What are we doing? Like, why are we here? What is going on?" Especially John. Like, you tell John is completely like detaching at this point. I mean, he's there and physically there, but like you kind of wonder half the time if he's mentally there. And they struggle a lot. And to your point, you always forget they just good they just put out a double album like 2 seconds ago. I mean, they just put out a double record. And it's like that's a lot of
Yeah.
songs. And I mean,
And
you're
then
you
and then
know?
3 months later, another record. I mean, they
Right.
recorded it, it wasn't released, but it's like it doesn't matter, it doesn't really make any difference when it was released. They had recorded a full record the next, 3 months later.
Right. And what you realize from Get Back, that was the one thing that educated me was that my God, they did Let It Be in like a month. I mean, Let It Be was like done in January, basically. It was done. I mean,
Yeah.
or most of it was at least.
And then
Right.
they're back in the studio in April, starting sessions for Abbey Road. So I mean, I'm going to cut them some slack, but it doesn't change my opinions about what's to come and we'll go through this and talk song by song, I think, as per usual, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the context for this is that, hey, it, framing it that way, it's like I'll give them a lot of leeway. I mean, there was it was a challenging situation to be in to come up with a set of new songs for an album.
Yes, yes. And really quick, Greg, the other thing I wanted to point out was, right, as we all know, they stopped touring, right? So there was nothing else to do but make an album, right? It was like, and that it's funny that when you watch Get Back, Paul keeps saying, "Okay, so I guess we're just doing an album," like because he wanted to do the whole like concert, film, TV show, special, whatever it was going to be, and everyone kept kind of going, I don't know if I really want to do this. I don't know," and he was like, okay, so we're just doing an album then, right? Like that's what we're doing. And he was getting kind of like it was getting like old hacks. They were making so many records one after another, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'll also, speaking of Get Back, I'll also say, not for nothing, that many of the songs that ended up on Abbey Road were Get Back rejects.
right,
Or-
exactly. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's the thing that was also fascinating about watching that. You're like, oh my God, there's an Abbey Road song, there's another Abbey Road song. Like all these songs that they were rehearsing during January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I think as we'll go through this, we'll find that most of these songs were remnants of previous sessions, or many of them.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Many of them.
I will
Yes.
say this other thing, and I don't know, we'll say it up top here just in case we forget to talk about it later. One of the things that I think like kind of forms people opinion about this, and we won't get too far into recording technology here because again, I don't know what the level of technical expertise is of the audience, and we don't want to bore anybody. But this is the first record that was done on a solid state console. Um, Fully done on an well, not the first one fully done on an 8 track, but they had the 8 track technology. They were recording things in stereo for the first time. I think the argument is that it's the first record that sounds like a contemporary record. I mean, if this record sounds like something that could have been recorded recently, unlike some previous Beatles records, which sounds, for better or for worse, they sound of their time, right? But Abbey Road is the first one I think that you could say is of the modern era. And I
Yes.
think that partially, I don't want to put thoughts in people's minds, but that I think partially part of the opinion about this record is that they like the way it sounds.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and I agree with you. I do like the way it sounds, so I'm with that. I'm in that crowd.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, sonically, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's different. It's very sonically different from the other albums for sure. No question. So
Cool.
so
Shall we
let's
launch
let's
in?
jump in. Let's jump in. I
Okay,
mean,
great.
by the way, I'd like to show I've got multiple copy. You've got two CD versions. I think I've got like two vinyl versions. I got the box. The box.
All right.
we got it all. Um, there you go. That looks like is that an original
It's the
copy?
original.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
I didn't buy it originally.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
have been 2 years old. I wasn't getting enough allowance at that time to buy
No, I
Abbey
didn't have
Road.
enough money in my
Or I
pocket
would
to
have.
buy
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I didn't have any of that lawn mowing money, I always call it. It was just back in the day, be like, I'm gonna cut somebody's lawn, then I'm gonna go buy an album.
That's right.
You know, but yeah, so let's start it out. I mean, with Come Together, and to me, this is always a controversial one because, right, it was like I always know the story of like John coming up to Paul and being like, I've got a new song, and it's like basically you can't catch me. I mean, John was pretty cheeky that way, man. He had no problem like totally ripping off another song and then being like, oh, here we go, here's a new song. And you're like, dude, that is Chuck Berry. Like that is not like
Yeah.
we're gonna have to change. So anyway, I'm preempting you, but that's my
Well, I mean, I guess this is the first time where we slightly disagree because like yes, 100% John had no qualms about ripping things off. And I don't either, to be perfectly honest. I'm totally 100% okay with it. And I'm talking about it from a fandom perspective, not from a commercial perspective. Like a
right,
lot of people will steal things especially in the modern era, as a kind of a cash-in thing. That's not what John was doing here. There's no reason for him to try to cash in on a Chuck Berry thing in 1969. Chuck Berry was not popular in 1969. I think, John was not going, oh, I know what I'll do. It'll be lucrative if I just steal this Chuck Berry
right,
song.
right,
Just like the song, maybe. And yes, a lot of elements from it came in there. I particularly don't, so when I listen to the two songs, I don't think they really sound particularly, other than sharing a line or two, they don't sound really like the same song to me.
right. But I had read that when he first played it for Paul, it sounded just like it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
that's why Paul was like, "Hey, let's slow it down and swamp it up and do the bang down down down. Let's like make it different from what you're doing."
Okay, right on.
So but anyway, that's just I don't know that for a fact. I'm just part of it's speculation, but you're right. Like here come old flats. But had that being said, I'm starting out on a negative tinge. I love Come Together, so I love it. I think it's great.
So
So
here's where I'll start getting into splitting hairs because that's what this argument's all about, or this, I'm sorry, discussion.
right,
You have songs and you have recordings. And I think as a record, like this song, it's fantastic. This is like one of the best Beatles band performances ever. It's like it's so
yes,
good, it's so groovy and great. And it's kind of like, as a recording, it's like really one of those things that's like a pinnacle of Beatles performance. What I would say is it's not it's essentially it's like a self-portrait for John, right? Which is why I never really understood some of these covers. I mean, it's like it's like somebody covering an autobiography. It's like it's about John, like it's a song about
yes,
himself, right? I mean,
right, right,
it's got Ono sideboard and all that stuff. It's like it's one of those self-reflective John songs. And
right,
it's not really, I mean, it's a great recording and it's kind of like it's not much of a song.
right,
I
right.
can imagine you sit down and play this on an acoustic guitar and sing it to somebody, it's kind of like, okay, bunch of lines about yourself, John. I'm being hypercritical, of course, but absolutely a great recording. I gave it a thumbs up on here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I love Come Together. Every time I hear it, I don't know, there's something about it. It's got that Beatles magic about it. And like you said, there's some sort of ensemble playing going on. And Ringo, can I just say Ringo's on top of his game on Abbey Road? I just think he's killing it on this record. And and like to your point, his drums never sounded better. I mean, that's another thing, right?
Fantastic sounding recording, all of Abbey Road, fantastic recording. No
Yeah,
question about it. The other thing I'll say about Come Together, and again, this is well, I'll come right out and say it. What would eventually happen with this, because of this lawsuit, which I consider a frivolous lawsuit.
right.
I don't think it was even Chuck Berry. I think it was the publishers or something that sued him.
Hmm.
his manager. I can't remember, but the what ended up happening was is that it ended up kind of causing this having these terrible after effects where John ended up having to record some Chuck Berry songs in 1973 as the payment to or a partial payment for this or I think or maybe the complete settlement was that it's like okay I'll do a few Chuck Berry songs on this rock and roll record and it just like that whole project kind of turned, that's a whole different episode, but it just turned it out to be just a terrible kind of time in John's career. I think probably, uh, a low
His
point.
life. Yeah, and his life.
Yeah. And his life. Yes. Good point.
He was unhinged, man, in 74. It wasn't
Yeah.
73,
But
74.
sorry, as a recording, Come Together gets a thumbs up from Greg.
Right. Okay. Okay. And so, but there's a little bit of like the songs that maybe a little bit on the like basic kind of side is from your perspective. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's a good way
yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. But I do love that when it does the just that, like you said, it's a really simple tune, like that whole do that end the end when they just start jamming out and like I just like that
There's another thing. I mean, George is at the top. You said, Ringo's at the top of his game. George is at the top of his game. Like,
mhm.
this is easily one of the best George albums as a guitar player. He's like absolutely on top of his game here. And
Yeah.
plus, he's playing all of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, for sure. But that's great. So that leads us into something, which is the next song.
Yeah. And speaking of George, I mean, so here's the kind of the painful thing about this critique of Abbey Road. This is George's best. I mean, he's
Yeah.
got absolute, I mean, the best, really probably the best songs he ever wrote are on Abbey Road.
Yes. Yeah, I would think
And
so.
something is one of them. It's just an absolute masterpiece of a song and a recording.
Yeah. And even for the first time, I think not for the maybe for the first time, I don't know. Again, I'm sort of guessing here, but I think John and Paul really were on board with something. They were like, I think they weren't sure about it at first, and then when it started to develop, I think they both went, "Oh, this is like really good. Like, wow, George really nailed this one." Whereas in the past they'd be like, "Oh, give George a song." Now it's like, "Oh, he's really writing good stuff now."
Oh yeah, yeah. They had to see this as a threat to a certain
Yeah.
extent. I mean, as a songwriter, you had to look at something, and Here Comes the Sun that we'll be talking about in a minute, as absolutely like, oh wow,
Oh,
we need to up our game because George is crushing us. And in fact, I'll give you the spoiler right now. George does crush them. Like as
kind
a
of does.
songwriter,
Yeah.
he's the best songwriter on the Abbey Road LP. There, I said
Yeah,
it.
there we go. There we go. Yup.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, I mean, there's I mean, I don't know how, yeah, I'm with you. There's part of me that is like, he really kills it on this. And I think that maybe, that's always brought up as one of the points of possibly being another factor of the Beatles having problems is that George was emerging so much as a songwriter and as an artist. And it was like, he wasn't just the lead guitar player anymore. He was now a full writing force to be reckoned with. And it was like, oh, now we're gonna have to give him four songs every album. Like, what's gonna happen here? That became a problem in a way.
I don't know. Yeah, it could
You
be.
know,
Yeah, I don't know. I will say it's like you spoke of John not having any issues stealing. I think we can say the same thing about George here. This entire Something in the Way She Moves is taken verbatim from a James Taylor song that already existed. So George had absolutely no qualms about just taking something and like making it his own, which is quite charming in its own way.
the whole title, something in the wishy with the whole thing, and he was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
it's James Taylor, but it's okay. I'm taking it."
yeah, it
He
was already out. It was
didn't
great.
care. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh God. So
fantastic. But yeah, just the whole band performance, McCartney's bass on
yeah,
something and his backing vocals, like everything about, Paul was like you said, like I think all of the Beatles were into this song. The performance is fantastic.
yeah. No, I'm with you. So excellent, excellent song, amazing.
And by the
Uh,
way, and we won't end up talking about this because it's not on Abbey Road, but in this same era, in May, um, the on the B side of the Ballad of John and Yoko, George had another one of my favorite Beatles songs, period. You know, Lennon, McCartney, or Harrison. Old Brown Shoe came out in May, like that was
Yes.
recorded during these sessions. So he had another masterpiece that he recorded during this time that got released that didn't make the record. So just a
Yeah, I
side note.
love Old Brown Shoe. Oh my God, I love that song. It's just that whole like it's just weird because it's piano led. It's kind of, it's kind of interesting for a George song to be piano. I mean, I shouldn't say that. He's had other ones, but that one's so piano led.
It sounds like a Beatles song. Like that song should have been, and could be one of the wrap up things that we talk about. But Old Brown Shoe, you could say, should have been on Abbey Road because it sounds of all things like the most. It's so Beatley.
Yes, it is. And I remember hearing it on the what is it? The compilation, like in Hey Jude or whatever it was called. I think it was called. I can't remember I have it back here somewhere. But
Mhm.
anyway, it's on that compilation. And I remember that was the first time I'd heard it and I was like, "Oh my God, I love this song." Like, wow, is this like a B-side? Like, what is this?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
great
So,
song.
great
Another
tune.
great George song.
But anyway, so we're getting sidetracked, but a good sidetrack. I like the sidetrack. So Maxwell Silver Hammer. Now this is where we might start to have some problems. I mean, I even
Are you saying that or am I saying that?
I'm saying it actually. This is the one where when I'm sort of think critically, like this song kind of like it's okay for a Paul song. It's not. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay. Well, um, I- yeah, to say the least. I have in my notes here, dark and terrible.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just it's I think this is one of those songs where Paul, obviously this is one that was started during the Get Back session.
Right.
It's one of
Right.
those songs where Paul like digs in and he won't give up
Yep.
until he gets his way and it gets on a record. Like clearly the other Beatles did not like this song. Um, they may hate it more than us. Uh,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and they had to play on it. And it's just one of those things where Paul just dug his heels in and just would not let go of this song. There's like other songs like that too, like Teddy Boy, which fortunately never made the
Yeah.
never made it into the Beatles canon, but it's a bad song.
Yeah, he's definitely dragging them along on this one for sure. That's a great point. You're absolutely right. You can almost feel it. And you read the stories about him drilling. I don't think John was part of the sessions, but drilling Ringo and George and putting them through the motions on this song over and over and over again. And it's just like till he got it right or whatever. And it's just like I'm sure by the end of it, they were like, "This song can't stand this tune." Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Now again, it's like, if we want to say something positive about it, it's a great recording. The Moog is interesting on it. The Moog
Yes.
synthesizer part is
Yep.
very interesting. It's one of the earliest times that you hear a Moog on a Beatles record. Is it the first appearance?
Yeah, I think it is. I think so.
So, just from that perspective, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
good thing to say about it. But
Yeah, it's definitely it feels it has the feel of being kind of forced. Like it's kind of weird. I don't know how to describe it. When you listen to the song, you can tell Paul's trying real hard on this one. Like this is going to be a hit. I'm going to make this into a hit. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. And
Uh,
he thinks it's clearly he thinks it's clever or funny, and it
yeah,
isn't.
exactly, exactly. So I'll give you that one. I'm going to say that one's like one of the weaker links on the record. I'm with you
Hey,
on that.
wow, this is not a disagreement at all.
Yeah, I haven't disagreed yet. So I'm supposed to be the dissenting view here, but I mean that one I can see. Like when I think critically about the record, that's the one. And actually, that's the song that when I listen to the album, I'm kind of like, okay, I'll listen to it, but I'm not that as excited, you know. Um, Oh Darling. So another Paul song, which is sort of like almost like a 50s-esque throwback in a way. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, it's definitely a 50s throwback. I think in the worst possible way. I think it's like it's this. very like kind of 50s pastiche thing that Paul's trying to do. Again, in context at the time, there was a lot of this, as the name Get Back on the previous thing kind of implied, and the band sort of the band, Robbie Robertson's band, kind of started this whole trend of kind of getting back to basics after the psychedelic era, right? Just to put this in perspective. And some of this was like kind of getting back to 10 years or so previous, and people kind of like that idea of nostalgia was starting to come back. It would fully bloom in the early 70s, right, with American Graffiti and all that stuff.
Yes. Yep.
But this was kind of one of those first statements of like, oh, remember the good old days, back in the 50s when things were simpler. And it's like, oh darling, it's sort of that. And I think it's, again, it's just this very average song that is, the decent performance again by the Beatles. John always thought he should have sang it, of
Right.
course.
Yep.
It does sort of sound like a John song, and it would have been probably a lot more interesting because to me, it's just this grating. Oh boy, I'm going to get burned.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to get burned in the comments, Tom, as they say. Just this grating Paul McCartney vocal performance of like, oh, I'm just going to scream all week until I get it right.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
to me, I just hear it and it's like, all right, too
Mhm.
forced, too. It doesn't. You can tell he was trying to. That's what he was going for, and he was going to not stop until he got at it. So.
Right.
Sorry, it gets a thumbs down for me. It
All right.
slows the record down. You're
Okay. Well, there we go. This is my first respectful disagreement.
okay.
Uh, I do like Oh Darling. There's something about it that gets me. I'm not sure what it is. Like to your point, it's not really that great. I mean, the song itself, it's not like it's some amazing, masterpiece of creation of crafting. And again, Paul, you can tell to your point, Paul's trying really hard again. Here we go again with he's definitely putting his all into this one. But I think in this case it works. With Maxwell Silverhammer, not so much. This one, I think it does work because, and he is trying really hard. Like you said, he came into the studio every day, was singing it like, okay, not right. It's not right. I got to get that gravel in my. I got to feel like I got that gravel. And that's probably why John's like, I should have just sang it. I mean, I could have nailed that. So, but I think Paul was like, no, 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 I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it. And I think he does. I mean, I think he does eventually get it because his vocal performance on this to me is just like, man, like listen to this song and then when people talk about seeing him live now and they're like, oh, his voice. I mean, it's like his voice on this is just. I mean, again, he's like 20 something, right? You can get
Yeah.
pick a pair. He's 20, whatever, 25 or something, or 28, or I don't know how old he was, but he's in his 20s probably, right?
Yep.
But man, he just nails. I mean, that whole just the vocal alone gets me. Like when I listen to this track, I crank it up because I just love the way he sings it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
Like
just me.
to me, and we won't spend too much more time on this, but to me, a better example of Paul just going for it vocally in this style is like and I think fans of your channel will relate to this. Something like Monkberry Moon Delight,
Yes.
where he's
Yes.
like that to me sounds a little more effortless. Like they were just playing in the studio and Paul was just belting out a vocal and it wasn't
Yes.
so kind of forced and premeditated like this one. But that's
In his Little Richard type style, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so okay, so we'll move on. Octopus's Garden.
Right.
Okay, a Ringo song. So what's your take on this?
Well, as far as Ringo songs, and I think like I hate to say it exactly like this, but Ringo songs on Beatles records always are kind of like the novelty song in many cases.
Right.
There are some exceptions to that. I think like with a little help from my friends is fantastic and probably one of his best contributions to a vocal on a Beatles record. But um, it's a fun song, Octopus's Garden. It's kind of like the flip side to Yellow Submarine, obviously, right? And from that perspective, it's fun. The performance is fantastic. George's guitar playing is fantastic
Hmm.
on it. It's a perfect song for Ringo to sing, and he wrote it.
Yep. Yep. But is it much of a song? I guess is the next.
That's I gave it
What did you?
I gave it a sideways arrow. I think it's like
Sideways arrow.
like Ringo needs to have a song on a record. I think
Right.
it's great. It's great just from a tradition perspective, and it's great because it does break up. Normally, you have some sort of fun song from Ringo on a record.
Right. Right.
So from that perspective, sure.
It's hard to rip on it because it's just a fun
Yeah,
Ringo song. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Your opinion?
yeah, I mean it's okay. Like you said, it's I look at it as sort of a little kind of hey, Ringo's got a song, like let's work it up kind of thing.
Yeah,
It seemed like George was his biggest champion from watching Get Back. George was like playing guitar with him at the piano and oh, you've got a song and he was all excited about it. Um,
agree. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm sure Harrison helped him, as I understand it, helped him kind of smooth out the edges of this from a songwriting perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's okay. I mean, it's not like I'm not like super excited about Opto. It's pretty good. I mean, I love the fact that he's blowing bubbles in they close mic the blowing bubbles into that. I thought that was kind of cool. There's and those those all those backing vocals are kind of cool.
Again, it's like it's
Yeah.
from a recording perspective, it's you get like imagine I'll get burned. Imagine what they could have done with a good song.
Yeah, right.
It's
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
it's like the recording, the way they were approaching the studio at this point, and it's like they were making fantastic recordings. Absolutely.
Yes. So okay, so let's move on to the last track on side one, which is I Want You of the vinyl, which is I Want You, She's So Heavy.
Yeah.
A John song.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh
so
boy.
what do you think on this one? What do you think?
Oh boy.
Yeah. Any
It,
problem with this
you
one?
know, this is another, it's not even a song. I mean,
It's a jam.
it's a
Yeah.
jam. Again, the recording, the band performance is amazing. And you listen to some of the outtakes and things that were done, and absolutely um, fantastic band performance. They were playing together.
Yep.
You can hear the outtakes, and they were all playing together, and it sounds great, but it's not really a song. The "She's So Heavy" part is interesting.
Hmm.
I like that, but the "I Want You" obviously it's just repetitive, and like to me, like somebody with as short of attention span as me, just the endless "I want you" thing.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Dylan had already done "I Want You" back in '66. A different
Yep.
song, obviously, and that's a good "I Want You." This one is not that great of an "I Want You."
Um, yes. I'm gonna another respectful disagreement on this one. As much as I hear your points about it being repetitive, because definitely the verses particularly, I mean, it's just like a neat, if who knows, John might have been like, that was my whole point. I'm just repeating because my desire for Yoko was so strong that I'm just repeating it over and over again. I want you, I want you, I want you. But I do love you did say it's a great performance and there's just something about the performance on this track that the whole like it starts out ding 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 I want you so bad ding 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 and then the next thing you know they're doing I want you do ding 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 I won't and it turns into this sort of jazzy thing and it's like oh my God this is so cool I mean just the fact that they keep changing it up musically kind of keeps my attention and then that whole that I mean to me the whole cherry on top is that
Yeah.
I mean just that you can almost feel you can see George and John in the studio with their guitars doing these overdubs on that last part and making it heavier and heavier and I just man that just sucks me in at the end that's very hypnotic that riff it just repeats over and over you know
No question. Like
yeah
from a like I said, my in my notes here, the She's So Heavy part is really fantastic, and I like the She's So Heavy part. Again, it's not a song, but as a piece of music, the She's So Heavy part with the guitar riff thing, it's definitely a fascinating piece of music, and it's cool. Um, it for me, it slows the record down. It
Yeah,
would,
okay.
it would have been an interesting B-side or something like that, probably for
All
me.
right, there you go. There you go. Okay. All right, well, let's move on to side two. Uh,
Cool.
with starts out with Here Comes the Sun, and the other George song, which we're already talking about. George is just on his A game here completely.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like, I think like everybody loves it. I can't don't know that anybody I've ever met dislikes Here Comes the Sun. I mean, it's a
I've
fantastic
never heard a
song.
dissenting opinion on this
It's
song.
it's always like even like on like for people today on your Spotify playlists and things like that, it's always one of the most streamed Beatles songs.
Yes, that's what I've heard. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for obvious reasons. It's a positive song. The performance, from a songwriting perspective, it's great.
Hmm.
From a performance perspective, it's great. George's guitar playing on it, amazing, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. No, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's so good. It's one of those you've heard so many times. And I think to your point, there's a lot of young people who really weren't around. I mean, that love that song. That's a song that like just connects with people. It just does. And
Yeah.
it's so melodic. It's just so this is like George at his melodic best, like he's just, we don't have to keep talking about this. He's just killing it. I mean,
Yeah.
the two George songs on here we already said are amazing. They're five-star songs.
And again, in my notes here, I say very Beatly,
Yeah.
unlike a lot of the rest of the songs on the record. I mean, and which is something we forgot to mention about something. Is that like when Frank Sinatra did it, he kept referring to it as the Lennon McCartney song. And it's like I think there's kind of a kind of an interesting statement about that. So it's like, both these songs are probably more Beatley songs on the record. And it's George kind of picking up the mantle. It's like, if you guys don't want to write a great 3-minute pop song, I will.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's a great, I never really heard it said that way. That's interesting. I never thought about it that way. So you're right. I mean, it's very Beatly. It's very Beatly. So yeah, 5 stars, we agree on that one. So um
Again, no John,
right,
no
right.
John on this song.
No, I mean,
I
John,
think
this is
he
what
was. I think he was. I don't. Can't remember if this is one of the car accident ones where he was just out of commission. But again, this is kind of typical of this period. John not playing on George songs.
Yeah, and I really think John, that's the one thing that we didn't talk about earlier, that I really think that he is kind of, that's part of the theme of Abbey Road, is like John is sort of here and there, like when he's in the studio, he's killing it, but he's not in the studio very much. Like he's not with them that much on this at this time. And he's kind of one foot out, one foot in, one foot out at this period. He's just so
Yeah,
infatuated with Yoko at this point. He's like, Yoko and John, I
yeah.
can't. My imitations are horrible. I can't do the Liverpool
No, no,
accent.
no. Don't put
But
yourself down.
yeah. So anyway, so let's move on to Because. Okay, speaking of John, here's another
Yeah.
John song. Um, what do you think of Because?
Um, I have down here great song and even better performance. So
Yeah.
it's like, here's a song, here's an actual written song by John that I think is the first one on the record that is like a great song, piece of songwriting.
Yes.
Just a nice, simple statement, kind of classic John, in an across the universe kind of way.
Yes. Yep.
And and the performance, the vocal performance, obviously is,
Yeah.
hasn't been matched.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Tour de force I have from a vocal perspective.
Okay, good. I'm glad because I was ready to pounce if you're gonna say this one was, because this is the beginning of the potentially kind of the beginning of the medley, right? Um, I
Well, I
think
wanted to talk about that because, like,
is
I
this the
think it's
beginning of the
something
medley?
we can get into and disagree with here about the medley part because this
All
is
right.
But this is actually one of the things that's kind of stuck in my craw uh, about this. But yeah, but yes,
All
I
right.
think for a lot of people, this is the beginning of the medley.
Or
Yes.
okay, so yeah, so because is apparently Yoko was playing like Moonlight Sonata or something like that on the
Yeah.
piano. He was inspired by it, and I just love this. This is John. This is so John Lennon. He like turned it around or played the chords backwards or something like that. But man, whatever he did, it turned into an awesome song. I mean, because is just heavenly. It's just, and like you said, that vocal performance, like wow, like they do a lot of that on Abbey Road, this sort of three on a mic thing, which they did on This Boy and what else? Yes, it is, things like that. They
Yeah.
hadn't done that in a while, this sort of huge I mean, they'd done harmonies, but this sort of group harmony vibe that just on this song, just when they do that,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, that is so killer. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, so
Very
good.
powerful. I
Yeah.
think that's George Martin on electric harpsichord, if I remember right. You have your Beatles recording sessions there.
Yes,
But
I do. I do.
in any case,
Let me look it up.
whoever it is, it's a great little contribution to the song. It just fits, like everything works about this song. And like for me, it's if I think it's the well, it may be the only John song on here that's like doesn't have a little asterisk by it for
Right.
me. It's just a great song, great performance, belongs
Yes.
on a record.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Couldn't agree more. Great, 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 great. Okay, You Never Give Me Your Money. So this goes into another Paul song, talking about their business troubles. So at the time.
And also timely because for me, back to back with because it's Paul's really only full-fledged song on Abbey Road for my taste.
You
It's
for
like
you.
it's a complete song. It's a great full song, even though it's kind of like made up of it's like the kind of the classic Paul made up of a few different elements. He's got the different sections in there, a la
Yeah.
Band on the Run or whatever. But in this
Right.
case, they work together. They are thematically of one mind, in my opinion. To You Never Give Me Your Money, which is just this kind of Paul's statement on the state of affairs, uh, financial affairs of the Beatles, and just getting tired of being in boardrooms and looking at contracts and things like that, and just none of them liked it. None of them wanted to do that. It was never their thing. And this came out in a number of different ways, songwriting wise from the different Beatles. But this is Paul's kind of statement about that, and I think it's a great one. And it's really for me, the I have the only great full song from Paul on Abbey Road.
All right. Okay. Well, I agree. I think it's a great song. I think it's really well crafted. This is Paul at his best for sure. And yeah, I never really thought about it that way. It's like, man, that song it's got like three different parts to it. I mean, it really does progress. That whole like pay no
Yeah.
future, pay no rent. It
Yeah.
goes from that that really mellowed beginning, and it kind of
Yep.
kicks in.
Yeah.
It's a really cool Paul song for sure.
Yep.
And I never thought of like kind of like Band on the Runish. It's kind of, you're right. It's sort of
Yeah. And you have the
similar.
one sweet dream part. Um, it's yeah, all of it works together in a really, really good way.
Yeah, and it's interesting that, what was it? You never give me your money, you just give me your funny paper. Apparently it was like Alan Klein kept saying, "You guys are millionaires on paper," and like would give him like pieces of paper. But he's like, "Where's the actual money?"
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm thumbs up on that one as well. So how about Sun King? Now we head into Sun King.
Right. So here, like to me, this is where the actual medley starts
Okay.
because it's from here on out, it's all song fragments. There are no full songs left really in the rest of this medley. It's all ideas that either Paul or John had that were kind of mashed together, right?
Right.
And
Right.
Sun King, I guess you could say it's a full song in some ways, even though it doesn't have the traditional song structure of a full song. I have down here it's not much of a song, but it sounds like a White Album leftover.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a criticism. I think I like that era, obviously, like a lot of
Right.
Beatles fans do.
Yep.
And it kind of it has that sound to it. So it sounds like a Beatles song. Um, because it is a Beatles song.
Right.
And there's some really funny parts at the end in typical John kind of gobbledygook fashion. He's doing his fake kind of Italian Spanish thing or whatever, and
Yes.
he
Yes.
drops in some like great Liverpudlian things and some other things in the meantime. And he at one point he says cake and eat it,
Oh, does
which
he?
is great. Like you can't have your cake and eat it too,
Right.
um, which is
Yes.
like spelled out on the thing is like cake and eat it, cake and
Oh,
eat
that's funny.
everything. He's in the middle of his like Spanish thing or Latin, kind of.
He's
I
doing his,
always
like you
thought it
said,
was funny.
the Lennon gobbledygook, like that he loves that wordplay and stuff that he loves that,
Yeah,
but
yeah. So
it is hilarious when I sing along to it. It's just, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like Mundo paparazzi mi amor.
yeah, yeah,
It needs it. It's like I don't even know what he's saying, but I'm singing along to it.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, it's great. Like from as a in like a I am the walrus kind of a way, which is I love I am the walrus. Like
yeah.
it's nonsense, but I like it, It's like one of those nonsensical songs that you love. And it's like this is like the ending of this is really cool.
Yeah, it's funny that later John would always be like, "Oh, it's just nonsense. Like that's just nonsense wordplay." And I'm like, "I think it's awesome. Like I don't know why you're ripping on it, you
Yeah,
know?"
I mean, or even if it is a rip, I guess my argument would be like it's like it can be nonsense and be great.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's basically what we're dealing with here. In terms of the Sun King part as a song, um, yeah, it's good. I mean, it's like I wish here's where I'll start and just this will be my statement about the rest of the medley. I
Okay.
wish that he and Paul had just like kind of gotten into a room together and said, "Hey, we have like 6 or 7 songs here. You want to like work on them together and finish them?"
Nah. Let's just throw them in
Let's just jam them together on a medley at the end of the record.
there. Like we don't have time for that.
Here's the thing about it, and I'll just kind of say this as a blanket about the rest of these things. It's like are any of these anyone's favorite Beatles song? Sun King, Mustard, Polythene Pam, Carry That Weight, like any like I guess the end, like a lot of people like the end,
Right. Right. Yeah.
but it's like and we'll get to these as we get through the medley, but it's like this is like the first example of me. It's like where I just get frustrated and go, yeah, this would have been cool if it would have been completed as a song.
Yes, yes, and I had a feeling you might be going in that direction with the medley. I had a feeling like when I was trying
Yeah.
to think about what you were going to criticize, I was like, he's probably going to go in on the medley because it is a lot of like just parts thrown together.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it's hard to like, it's hard to get into. Like it's like as soon as like you're a minute and a half into a song and it's like pops into the next song, it's like
right.
there's not a lot to dig into there. And there's great parts to Sun King. Like the guitar riff thing is fantastic, right? Again, as a performance, it's like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think he was I think I had read that he was influenced by Fleetwood Mac on this song.
Mhm.
Albatross by
Mhm.
Fleetwood Mac, and he because he there's I just discovered it recently. There's audio of him. I think it's the Let It Get Back sessions where he comes in and the first thing and he sits down and grabs his guitar and goes, "Oh, I just saw this band last night, Fleetwood Mac. They're awesome." Like it's Peter Green Fleetwood Mac, right? It's the Peter Green, and he's like, "Oh, this guy's got long hair and he looks like he's got this beard and they're playing this really mellow, but it's really awesome. Like it's really cool." And I think he wanted to do something in the Fleetwood Mac vein, and that's kind of how Sun King came about. Um,
Interesting.
you
Yeah.
know, but so I love Sun King, man. I don't know. There's something about it that just has that. it's so, you always think of John as the rocker, and then he does something like this. I mean, of course, John is always his both. He's got ballads, he's got amazing ballads, and he's got rockers. He's not just one. And this is a perfect example of him doing something really pretty, which I really love. I just love that I don't know, and like you said, the cod Spanish at the end or whatever it is, Latin Spanish. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
I just think it's just so John that whole part, and I can't help. I get sucked into Sun King. I can't help it.
fair enough.
Anyway, let's move on. So then it goes right into Mean
Yeah,
Mr. Mustard, which is a White Album outtake, right?
yeah, yeah. It's another leftover. And that's my only note about it. A
Yeah,
left from the White Album.
yeah.
I mean, like again, it's like it's cool, and like as a groove and as a thing, it's like and as a kind of a funny little John thought, it's like it's great, but again, it's not a song.
Sleeps in a hole in the road. Yeah, I mean, what is he like? To me, I can picture him playing this on acoustic in
Yeah,
Rishikesh, right?
yeah. There you go.
I can say it. And like just playing that on acoustic and having this little, fragment. But to your point, I do like your point about, hey, do you want to finish this one? Like it's not really finished. It's just like a fragment.
Yeah.
Uh,
And maybe he knew, maybe the point was like it never could be like as a whole song, maybe it wouldn't work. Like Mean Mr. Mustard, it's like it
yeah,
sounds like something from the psychedelic era in a lot of ways, right? Because it's like the White Album was really that transition period where they were coming out of the psychedelic era into something slightly different. It's pretty psychedelic still, but it's also kind of getting back to a more rootsy vibe. And Mustard sounds like something from the psychedelic era. It would have been great, like in Yellow Submarine. Like it would have been great, like as a Yellow Submarine track or something.
right, right. Yeah, like a character in the Yellow Submarine was Mr. Mustard or something, and then they had a song about it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah. It does sound very White Album-ish, I gotta say. It sounds like it would have fit on the White Album.
yeah.
To me. And I love me, Mr. Mustard. So I'm gonna say I love this, even though it's a
It's
little
cool.
fragment. I love it. It's so John. It's so
It's
John.
cool, but it's a fragment. This is one of the. I think that through this whole section, we're going to be like we agree and disagree at the same time
Right.
because I'm agreeing with you that it's a cool piece, small
Cool
piece of
piece.
music,
Right.
but I'm
Right.
also disagreeing that it's like that it's really a song.
Like imagine if you were working with John and he came up and said, I have this idea, and he starts playing Mean Mr. Mustard, you'd be like, this is awesome. Like
Yeah,
we gotta finish this. We gotta this is awesome,
yeah,
But at
yeah,
this point they weren't at the to your as you're saying, as you're pointing out, at this point in time, they weren't really doing that because they weren't communicating well
yeah.
at this point.
They could
Uh,
use the therapist.
yeah, they really weren't. It was just kind of everyone was doing their own thing, and it was like this was the best they could do was throw these old ideas together. And this is, as we mentioned, this Me and Mr. Mustard was on as there's another. I think there's another one that were on the extras, the White Album extras. The
Yeah,
yeah from the Esher demos or whatever.
yeah, the Esher demos.
Yeah, so this is one of those.
And I think Polythene Pam was on there, right?
Althea Pam is there too. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah,
Two in a row from the Esher demos. From like when Esher demos are basically as soon as they got back from India, they had all these songs and they wanted to make sure to get them on tape. So they went to George's house, I think, and like recorded them on 4-track really quick. I think is that right?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. Yep.
yeah. So
And
this is another one of those. So Polythene,
yeah, and it's like Polythene Pam. Like it's like when you start looking at all these things and you think about John's things on the White Album, it's like he's like really in this era. He's like he's like at the peak of like writing these like little character sketches. Um,
yeah,
and of course it's John, so there's like a lot of humor in them.
right, right.
In Mustard and Polythene Pam, it's basically like a joke. They're basically like joke songs.
Jokey songs, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But again, not that that doesn't make it cool. I like Polythene Pam as a little short fragment piece of music, but it's not a song. It's one of those like Paul would end up like eventually making his entire career out of this. He basically from here on out, Paul would be like, "Oh, I can just take half-written songs and mash them together and make make medleys for the rest of my life.
Like he does on Red Rose Speedway, right?
Oh, like he does on every album, Tom.
Yeah, he does it on a lot.
Um, yeah, sorry,
I always
Paul.
think of Red Rose Speedway though, the oh lazy dynamite
I
and
mean, that's essentially what Band on the Run is, right? It's
yeah,
essentially
Band on the Run is
what,
like that too. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
there's
true.
like there's hardly a record that goes by that Paul doesn't do this in some form
Yeah,
or
yeah.
fashion on. Sometimes he calls it one song and sometimes he calls it a medley, but
It works so
pretty much
well on
always
Abbey
does it.
Road. Let's just do it again. So yeah, so speaking of Paul, we're at a Paul song.
Yeah.
She came in through the bathroom window,
Okay.
which
Yeah, we should
which
accelerate
I
this.
think they were working on Get Back, right? Or for Let It
Yeah,
Be.
yeah. Now this is like kind of an exception for me because I think like this could have been like a great one of the great like Paul songs. Like she came in through the bathroom window. I wish, and Joe Cocker did a version of it that's good, as
Yeah.
a complete song.
Hmm.
And I guess it kind of more or less is a complete song.
And
Um,
this one feels pretty complete to me. I was going to say that.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of more or less a complete song. You know, I may change my opinion here mid podcast, mid YouTube
You're
video.
allowed to do that. You're allowed. It's okay.
Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Hey, if you're giving me, it's your show. So, I'm going to change my opinion and say this is the second song that's kind of more or less complete. I wish it were just a standalone song. Like, I wish it weren't part of the medley.
Right.
To me, the
Right.
medley diminishes it, not elevates it. I wish it, they would have all, like, I wish it had, been just recorded as a complete kind of recording as a full song.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Okay.
is it is a great, I like it as a song and I like it as a performance.
Okay. All right. I
Your opinion?
really enjoy it. I think it's amazing. I think it's very, very, very good. Like it's Paul. I love it. I just think he's killing it. And it's based on apparently a real story where someone came into his
Yeah.
place, but through the bathroom window or whatever, some girl or something.
Mhm.
Um, and he came home and somebody was in his, I mean, can you imagine that coming home and someone's in your apartment or in your, like, oh my God, what? Like, who are you? Get out of here, please.
Yeah.
Paul
Yeah.
was always really good dealing with that stuff, though. Apparently, he was always very gracious about it. Um, but yeah, no, I think it's a cool track. I think it's really, really, really good. And then Golden it goes into Golden Slumbers, which is another
Right.
Paul song.
And
Um,
this is where it really gets frustrating for me because Golden Slumbers is, it's kind of like extension of You Never Give Me Your Money, right? In a lot of ways.
right.
Musically, it shares a lot with that. But again, it's like a little bit, I'm frustrated because Golden Slumbers, I think, could have been one of those McCartney masterpiece things if it had like just been written as a complete song. Like
Yeah.
we would
Yeah.
be talking about Golden Slumbers, like in some ways, as people talk about Let It Be or Long and
Yep.
Winding Road or some of these late period McCartney Beatles songs. It's like I think Golden Slumbers could have been that, but it's like to me it's just frustrating because it's stuck in here as this kind of like, I don't feel like finishing this song, so we'll stick it in the medley.
Yeah. But it's so well developed. I mean, it's got like the whole strings in the background, and maybe this is part of your argument is that like some of these are like sort of incomplete songs that are sort of recorded really well and trumped up and pushed at like they've got strings on them, they've got horns, I mean, it's like full on George Martin production. And they sound amazing when you're listening to it. I mean, I think Golden Slumber sounds awesome. Awesome. I mean, um, I always get chills when he does the golden slumbers fill your eye. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, this is so
Yeah.
great.
And by
Maybe
the
that's what you're
way,
getting at, that it could have been a classic of I mean, if it
yeah, and it's another great Paul McCartney vocal performance. Like you said, like you were just the part you were just talking about there. Smiles awake you when you rise. He like lays into it, and to me, that's the natural Paul driving voice that you want to hear, not the forced one. Um,
right, right.
but yeah, great Paul vocal performance, great song. Boy, I wish it was like just like a standalone song. It could have been a single that was probably, it could have topped the charts probably.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so
Now it's just part of a medley.
yeah,
On
and then the part of the medley, it's interesting because Carry That Weight really goes, I mean, it really feels like part of Golden, it feels like the end of Golden Slumbers. But it's they list it as a different song, so that's interesting. That's what I find interesting.
Yeah,
Uh
because some of those thematic elements comes back, right? That's where the da, 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 right? That's what
yes,
comes
yes,
back and
exactly.
all that kind of stuff. It's like the usual
Yep.
pop thing. Everybody starts
Yeah, he
bringing
starts referring
it
back
back.
to other songs. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. The callback, the old call me back again.
Yes.
And carry that weight. Yeah, it does feel like it does feel like the same song. It's just another part of the same song. And
Yeah. Yeah.
to me, it's a minor thing. It's a great idea from Paul that you can see why it was stuck in as part of the medley.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and again, another song about their business troubles. You're going to carry that weight a long time. I mean, definitely Paul, things were weighing heavy on Paul at this point. You could tell from his songs. And what's interesting about the sonically, you can hear Ringo singing. Like you can hear because they're all singing background vocals, and you can hear Ringo singing that. Boy, you're going to carry that weight. It's interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah. So then it goes into the end, which is kind of like a jam at the end.
Yeah. We're
Uh,
finally to the end of this record. Yeah, I mean it's again, it's like it's those you know, yeah, I think for a lot of people, the end is kind of what they think of when they think of the medley. I don't know.
yes,
Maybe it's
right.
just me. But when I think of the medley, it's like you kind of think of the end is because it's like it's the pinnacle of it, obviously. Um, yeah, I mean it's an interesting song. Just I think a lot of people put a little bit too much on it because it's like it's the last song on the last record done during the Beatles' career, right? So it's like, oh, it's
Yes.
the end. What a nice bookend.
What a great way. They said the end because they knew it was the end. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit too much put on that.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's again, it's got that nice phrase, that people refer to, and in the end, the love you
Hmm.
make. Um, so yeah, from that perspective, it's an interesting piece of music. But again, it's like I have down here, it's like, you have it's probably a little too harsh, but I was feeling a little bit salty at the time, and I put down, you string together a bunch of novelty tracks to make a medley.
Hmm.
Um, and it's a little bit what it feels like, even though we already talked about there are some actual full songs in here. But again, it goes back to, like you said, it's like it's these Paul. This is 100% Paul. Let's face it.
Yeah.
John never done this. This is a Paul McCartney and George Martin production. Most of side B on this album.
Yes. And you can almost hear John saying, yeah, go ahead and use my scraps. You can use them.
Yeah,
That's fine. Go,
100%.
go ahead and throw my scraps into the medley. I don't care. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
he didn't seem to care much at this point. Paul is like, okay, great. I've got a couple John things I can throw in here. So, but yeah, but the end though really feels very, to me, it feels, I do love the end. I think it feels like very, like they kind of knew that, okay, like, I mean, the whole Abbey Road thing was like, let's clean things up. Like we can't end on Let It Be. Like we just can't. It's just too, we gotta do something to end this. And they do. And this track feels like everybody's like, okay, let's do this right. And I mean, the fact that it always gets me right here when I hear them trading the guitar licks at the end, and it's like, I remember telling my daughter, I was like, listen, that's John, that's George, that's Paul. They're doing this jam where they're trading licks. And it's just so exciting to me that they did that at the end. And Ringo even gets a solo. They pushed Ringo to do a solo. He didn't really want to do it, but they pushed him to do it, and it's classic.
yeah. No, it does like finally on the last song on a Beatles record, it finally feels like that the four of them are each have a 25% contribution to the band, right? It's not like a Lennon McCartney and the sidemen. Uh,
Right. Right.
It's like, yeah, we're all equal part of this band, and you can feel it on the end for sure. I agree with that. And again, the performance is fantastic. The tour de force, obviously.
Mhm.
Um, I think you know, and I don't know if we like. I know we're already pushing the length of this probably, but I do have an alternate Abbey Road down here that I think would actually push it into the upper echelon of Beatle records.
Oh, wow, I'd love to. Let's do it. I'd love, this is people in Curlis Mania. We always go really deep, so it's like
Okay.
it's going to be a long one, but you know what? Abbey Road's worth talking about. So
Okay. Like
go ahead. Well,
this particular like this probably won't take that long because it's not that much and some of it's theoretical as this stuff tends to be. But like
well, Greg, really quick before you do that,
yeah.
we didn't mention Her Majesty is like sort of another like
Oh yeah.
we didn't talk about Her Majesty. So Her Majesty is basically like a little clip that was gonna be part of the medley, and it got cut out, and then it got put on at the end of the reel, right? And then it
Yeah.
ended up being, yeah. So that's just wanted to mention that. That's
Yeah,
all.
it's another little novelty song, it's a
Yep.
nice little like a nice little like tongue in cheek, I think we could say a song from Paul,
Yep. Yep.
his little song about the Queen and
Sounds like something he could do in his sleep, right? Like he just gets up and he's like, "Her Majesty's pretty nice, good." It's like, you know what I mean? Something he could do.
medley. That's kind of the medley in a nutshell for me. This is
Yeah.
like these are things that those guys woke up one morning, turned on the recorder and wrote a little fragment of music in and then never bothered to finish.
Right. Right. So there you go. Okay.
So,
So we I
so
just wanted to
having
get
said
Her
that,
Majesty in there. So you're good. Now you're good to go. So
sorry, yes, that's sorry. Yeah, we had to wrap it up. Yep, and Her
yep.
Majesty is what it is. So now, imagine, if you will, an alternate Abbey Road
Okay.
where yes, something, and here comes the sun is of course on the record, but
Right.
also Old Brown Shoe is on there as the third George song.
All
Okay,
right. Three George songs. Okay.
the George songs, as he deserved, at least. Maybe
Right.
another one. He probably deserved a fourth, but we'll leave
Yeah.
that for a different topic because there's plenty of songs that we could pull from All Things Must Pass that could have easily gone on here and made it a better record. Sorry, who's going to argue with me?
That's another episode we
Put it in
could.
the comments, folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, um, in terms of John's contributions, Come Together, yes, of course. Because, yes. And then I would say I would love to have heard, like, I don't think the Ballad of John and Yoko should have gone on here. I think that would have been, it's not that Ballad of John. I've never been a huge fan of Ballad of John and Yoko,
Oh,
but like a fully written and completed Sun King would have been great to go with Come Together and Because as
okay.
three solid John songs. And then again, you would have liked to have maybe seen John and Paul like kind of finish something together. In terms of Paul, um, you got to lose Maxwell Silverhammer. I would lose Oh Darling. And I would, again, You Never Give Me Your Money is great. Golden Slumbers would have been great as a full song. She came in through the bathroom window. So there we have three songs by three Beatles. Those nine songs would have been the core of a really, really good Abbey Road. And this is where we start to go outside the record a little more even, is that Paul had said that he intended to include Come and Get It at one point
I was
on,
waiting for that. I was waiting for
on
that.
this
He's
record.
gonna say, "Come and get it," because that would have
He's
been awesome.
Come and Get It would have been a great or third track on this record.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
imagine that? Like it would have fit right in and made it like sound like a Beatles record if Come and Get It was on
I
here.
have fantasized about that for that has been one of my things. Yes.
There's the four from Paul. We still need a fourth John song, which I had a little bit of trouble coming up with because there's nothing in this era. John was checked out a little bit, although he would shortly start writing some great songs, but they were too early to make it onto this, so we won't even go there. And then the Ringo song, Octopus's Garden is fine. It's fine. I don't think it like detracts from the record or anything like that.
right.
So then you start to have a very, very solid, at that point, 10 to 12 song Abbey Road record, which I do think would have been in the upper echelon of like when people, for me, like, oh, okay, yeah, Abbey Road, that's one of the top, three Beatles records. But as it stands, it's not even making my top five. Sorry.
Now, I gotta say, I was waiting for you to say "Come and Get It" because that even that demo that he just did by himself is pretty damn good. And imagine if if the Beatles got together and they honed that and did it as a Beatles track, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And Badfinger did a great job with it too. Don't get me wrong, but the Beatles version of it would have been so killer. Um, I've thought about that as well. And then the other thing I would think maybe you could throw into the mix would be John Wise would be Child of Nature, maybe
Oh
because it's
yeah.
basically turned into Jealous Guy, but he had already done it for the White Album. If they had basically made like almost like Jealous Guy, but like with the Beatles and called Child of Nature. I don't know. I don't know. Possible.
And at this point in time, actually, in August of '69, Across the Universe was still available.
Yeah, that's right.
It
That's
ended up
right.
going on Let It
Yeah.
Be, but technically it didn't really, it could have been on here. It belongs on here as much as it belongs on. I mean, yes, they played a little bit of it during the Get Back sessions, which is why it ended up on that record. But
Yeah.
so there are, yes, I agree with you. There are some options out there.
Yeah.
You know, that being said, like for me, and to wrap this up as my opinion about this, again, it doesn't make my top five. It's like to me, like, Revolver is still probably topping the Heat, White Album, Rubber Soul, even Hard Day's Night, which I think is a great uh batch of songs all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I always like I have a lot of people argue with me, Magical Mystery Tour, which really isn't a record. It's a US concoction.
That's what I always say. That's a Frankenstein.
But
Not,
sorry, it's released.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
how it was released here in the US. It's what we
right.
grew up on. And to
That's how
me,
we knew it. We knew it as an album. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's all those would come in before Abbey Road. How about you? Sounds like it's
Wow.
at near the top for you.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I really um I mean, we differ. I hear your points, and this is where we differ the most is I really do love the medley. Like I think the medley is cool. You're right, it is a bunch of scraps. There's a lot. I totally agree, and there are, it's funny, the more I listen to you talk about it, the more I'm kind of like opening my mind to, yeah, that might be kind of cool if they had sat down and finished that instead of just having it as a scrap. But I gotta say, George Martin and Paul did a great job of throwing them together and making it kind of like this, making it flow. And I just when I put on the medley, I love it. So I really love it. So
Yeah.
so I and I listen to it almost like one song. It's almost like this big like one song thing. Um, but it might have something to do with the sonics of it too. Like you said, the 8 tracks and it almost sounds like 70s album. It doesn't sound like because it's made in 69, but it kind of sounds like more like so I don't know. I love Abbey Road. So Abbey Road would be, but however, it's funny. I was just listening to with McKenna. We were driving back from the west side of the state, and I put on the Beatles because that's the one thing we share. We both love the Beatles, but she loves like song, like younger people. They listen to Spotify, listen to different songs. They don't like listen to albums like we used to. And so
Right.
I was like, okay, let's listen to Beatles albums all the way through. So we listened to Rubber Soul, Revolver, and Sergeant Pepper all in a row. And what was interesting was that some of the songs that were coming out, she's like, "Oh, Dad, I don't remember this one. I don't know this." And I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like, so the deep tracks on like Revolver, for example. I mean, and she's like, "Wow, George really did get super Indian for a while." I'm like, "Yeah, he did." I mean, he just like when you listen to songs like "Love You Too" and "Within You, Without You," and it's a full on Indian instrumentation. And she's like, and she said to me, she goes, "Dad, were people kind of shocked by this?" I go, "Yeah, I think they kind of were."
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to bring it back to Abbey Road just a little bit, and I think that's a great, I think it's great that younger people are still listening to even just the songs, obviously like, it's not a we're not in the full LP era anymore.
Right,
It
right.
is because of streaming, it is an individual. By the way, the other thing that on this podcast, and this was the Parlogram YouTube channel, by the way, the one I referred to at the top of the episode where the guy was asking the teenagers their opinions. And in that same episode, he asked them what music they owned, and all of them said, we don't own any music."
Yeah,
None
yeah,
of them owned any music.
yeah, yeah.
None of them of any kind, not just the Beatles. None of them owned any
Anything.
music.
Yeah,
It was
anything.
100% streaming. Why? I have it all on my phone.
Yeah, why would I buy physical things when I don't need to?
Yeah. So, but it's interesting. But like to bring it back to Abbey Road, I can pick apart the medley, and to your point, to put it in a historical perspective, and like your daughter had kind of very astutely summed up here, did this shock people at the time? It's like nobody had done this before.
Yeah,
So not in the same way. So in that way, Abbey Road is revolutionary that Paul and George Martin had cooked up this thing on side B that was like essentially one piece of music that they had put together. Um, we can't it's you can't discount the revolutionary aspect of that.
yep. No, I agreed, agreed. And I enjoyed, I would say that Abbey Road's one of my top three Beatles records, but that, again, the Beatles is so hard because it's all great. And I mean, and then I'll listen to, like you mentioned, A Hard Day's Night. I put that on not that long ago and I'm like, oh my God, this album is so good. Like it's just so good. The early sometimes I discount the early Beatles stuff and then I go back and go, oh yeah, why am I you can't discount this because it's great. The songs are great.
Yeah.
I mean, and John that's the opposite. John Lennon is almost like
Yeah.
driving the bus on Hard Day's Night. He's killing it on that.
100%. It's his band. During the Hard Day's Night era, it's John Lennon's band,
Yes.
and everybody else, and he writes the lion's share of the songs on there. And yeah, you're definitely right. He is driving the bus on that.
He is like he's very engaged on Hard Day's Night, and then he's not as engaged on this. He's definitely like distracted by this point in 69. So that's the one thing I will say that, there's definitely John is not, I mean, he's there, he's on the record, he's there, he's present, but he's definitely not Hard Day's Night John. Um, so anyway, so what do you think? Let us know in the comments. As Greg said earlier, comment away. Let us know. What do you think? Do you think we're crazy? Do you agree with, maybe it's a lot of people that agree with Greg and go, hey, he's right. I mean, there's a lot of just little fragments stuff on here that could have been so much better. Would you want Come and Get It on the record? That's another good question. So all this is very like deep Beatles geekdom, but we're into it. We love it. So let us know in the comments what you think.
Tom,
Um,
thanks for having me.
yes, Greg, thank you so much. You did such
Always
a great
fun.
job. You did such an awesome job. I always love talking music with you. It's always so much fun. So, um, especially Beatles related stuff, man. I mean, Greg knows his Beatles, man. He knows it. So anyway, so thanks again. Appreciate you. And we'll have you on again if you're interested and we'll take it from there. But thanks again, everybody. If you're with us this long, we really appreciate you. You must be a big Beatles fan. So thanks again. Always hit the like button, hit subscribe. It really helps the channel. Please hit subscribe if you're because like a lot of people watch and go, oh yeah, that's cool, and then they never hit subscribe. So that really helps me if you hit subscribe. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Curlis Mania. See ya.